And please, today in BMC webinar, what would you build with the right IMS analytics? The presentation is being recorded. At this time, I'd like to turn the call over to John O'Dowd. Please go ahead.
Thank you for attending today. I want to talk a little bit with you today about something that's new to a lot, so new to the IMS area, and certainly a new area that BMC is getting involved with. With that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about, before going, about how we've adjusted to changes over the years. We've been in the business any amount of time. That we've had changes that have come along, and things like I used MBS, and we went to MBS XA, and then MBS ESA, and then we went into ZOS. And through those changes, they happened to us right away. They took time over the years, and we were able to adapt to all these things, and they happened very slowly. The same thing with IMS. IMS has been around for 50 years now, and it's been very slow, incremental changes over time, and bringing in things like ways of connecting, and it's like that we were familiar, changed like VTAM, and then we changed to something like TCP/IP. That was a big change for us, but we were all able to take our time and learn what TCP/IP was. And there were other things along the way. Brought in the Java component into the mainframe. Java was thought of as a non-mainframe area, and but eventually adapted to that, and now we have Java processing regions, and all these things have become second nature to us. So I want to talk about something that is definitely not an area that many of us are familiar with, and that's the area of big data and analytic processing, analytics engines, and everything's changing on us. We're inundated by a lot of different areas, blockchain, DevOps, all these words being thrown out at us. So what I want to do first is I want to give you a little bit of an introduction to some of the data and analytics engine type scenarios and how they're used in the world today, and how we're addressing that. So about words like Splunk, Elastic, Apache Spark. These are all different analytics engines that are available out there for usage. As I go along, hopefully I'll be able to explain and show you some of this stuff. So first, I want to talk about how you plan to use analytics. There's the big right now with analytics is something called SIEM. It's Security and Information Event Management, and it's used for fraud detection. A lot of areas want to keep track and make sure that people are not using an IMS database or application that they're not supposed to be using, keeping an eye on things, making sure that fraud doesn't take place. There's a lot of interest in keeping track of the security side of things. I would say that that's a very popular way of applying analytics processing to the mainframe, and not just the mainframe, but all over the environment. Another popular area of analytics is the operational side of things. When we talk about IT operation analytics, this ITOA, you've probably seen that acronym thrown around. It's a method that we can use to retrieve and analyze reports to give us all kinds of information about what's going on with our system, the futures planning, maybe use by application, all those kinds of areas that are being addressed with the operational analytics side of things. Another that's of interest is root cause analysis, problem analysis. while just normal things to us and who have been around and doing this for a while, this area is being addressed in a more intelligent and way of trying to get to the root cause of problems in a faster and more efficient way and save the analyst, you, from to figure it out. So there's a lot of work going on in that area, and BMC is definitely got a huge interest along these lines. Types of analytics, we've got predictive analytics, and which goes along with this prescriptive. So we got the ability to take in a lot of data and sort of predict when there is going to be an issue. So perhaps we have a cyclical industry that has something that occurs with regularity on the fourth day of every third month, and perhaps we get a huge slowdown in our transactional processing, and it happens frequently and it happens predictably, but it happens not often that we take mind. And when it does happen, we say, oh, you seem to remember that happened at that time. To be able to use this predictive analytics to predict these kind of anomalies and then prescribe something that you can do to alleviate those logjams or at least anticipate these possible problems and that. Another is popular is this data mining analytics processing and analysis, all these types of things where you've got areas looking into your data and pulling out information that is perhaps useful from a business perspective. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. Some of the other things that are new to the industry is that there's a lot of new languages related to analytics. We've got things like the R language and Python, some that we're probably familiar with, like SAS and SQL and Java. They're all used in analytic processing. So there's a lot of different areas going on in that. And there's a lot of people that are making a living out of this. There's new kinds of jobs out there being created, the data scientist job, analytics managers, and just your old data analyst. That's becoming very more important as we go on. Time, as you all know, that it can be more evident than anything else in the fact that the growth in the banking industry is happening through the mobile and personal banking components. There's things like instant payments, real-time services, and instant billing that's really totally impacting IMS. Keeping in mind that IMS handles a huge amount of data every day. There's all kinds of statistics out there to indicate that, for example, there's one customer that handles $2.5 trillion in US dollars per day through IMS. So there's huge amounts of data going through, and it's not shrinking, it's growing. As I move forward here, let me talk about another area that kind of describes how analytics is creeping into our everyday world, and this is not uncommon. It's growing more and more every day. But let's talk about just some brick and mortar stores. It could be your grocery store, it could be a clothing store, it could be any kind of store. But the fact that now every day the smartphone has become almost as common to everyday people as your purse or your wallet. Everybody carries their smartphone around with them, and the majority of people on Wi-Fi to save money when they're at home, and they leave it on all the time. They never turn it off. the fact that that Wi-Fi is enabled, it allows a lot of these brick-and-mortar stores to use something called Wi-Fi spatial location analysis. And this is another area of analytics that allows somebody walks into the store, they can physically track where that person is. With that, they can determine what you're looking at, how long you're looking at a particular item based on the location within the store. They can track what you purchase, and with all these things and all that database information, if they know that you're standing close to a stand in the shoe department and you're looking at running shoes, even more specifically, the ability that they could, if you have the store app, which a lot of stores are getting to where you download an app for the store to get coupons and things, they have that app pop up with a 20% off Nike shoes while you're standing there. So what influence does this have on the customer? Well, first, this can decide if it did have an effect and whether that effect was successful, whether it was not, and even more, it can determine what percentage of time was that successful. So all of these things are analytic processing as a whole, and it's just growing and growing more and more every day. I mean, they also can say, you know, they determine different areas of their store and say if they've got a person in the sunglass area, they might want to know if they might want to be able to tell Ray-Ban that they've got customers looking at that. Would that be valuable to Ray-Ban? Sure. So it's just another area that play in our everyday world. So what would you? And this is sort of give you a way to think about how you, in your business, what could you build into your business to give you, if we could give you access to all of your IMS data, what could you build out of that? Perhaps the SIEM processing is of great concern, you know, the security aspect of it. People accessing things they don't, you know, have the authority to access or shouldn't be accessing more likely. Maybe you're concerned with transactional growth and areas of growth. Maybe you're interested in a particular application and or maybe it's an application that's old, that's been out there a while, and you want to know who's actually using this application. Maybe you're concerned with outages and timeouts and processing delays and other things of nature that are make operationally difficult for your business to work. And we've long been in the business of making your applications and databases and backup and recovery and all of your IMS work faster and better and give you access to information and keep your systems running and up. So along those lines, we're introducing today our new product, the AMI Data Extractor for IMS, which will provide you with real-time access to your IMS data and also other processing information, that any kind of IMS information that we can provide to you. So the question is, what would you build if we gave you access to your data? So think about what's important when I want you to have access to your data. Ask this question: what real-time information access mean to you? And I know that this is in a lot of cases this can just be a luxury to have information in real time. Perhaps it's a necessity to have it in real time. Is it critical? Do you have time-sensitive requirements that need that? I want you to be thinking about all those things as I talk about what real-time actually means. Now, the other day I was watching a golf tournament on TV, and I noticed that they've really improved the technology and brought in a lot of things to events and all kinds of areas. So not only did we talk about the brick-and-mortar stores and banking, but even in our entertainment industry, we have the ability now to apply analytics. And as you can see in this picture, they are processing data in real time. The golfer hits the ball, and they've got the ability now to run a little marker that shows the flight of the ball. They even have a shadow on the ground that shows the base direction that the ball is heading. They're plugging in things like the ball speed time, or miles per hour at the time of impact. And they're able to calculate this stuff because they have real-time information. This couldn't be accomplished without the computer processing speeds that we have today and doing the analytics in real time. They calculate how high that golf ball reached in its apex of the curve of flight. It's truly amazing how into our daily lives now are any kinds of analytics type work. So talking about our AMI Data Extractor for IMS product, I'll point out some things, and then I'm going to talk through what it does and how you might be able to use it. One of the things it does is it does extract real-time IMS log information for use in SIEM applications or all kinds of other areas of analytics. Don't limit it to the SIEM area, but that is one of the more popular areas. You can't get everything you want out of SMF records in the IMS transactional environment. A lot of that information has to come from the IMS logs. So by providing you real-time access to that data, we're giving you that ability. We have techniques that really reduce the overhead with the data extraction and make it run much faster with much impact to your environments, which is very, very important. And this is brought to you by a talented group of experienced developers, a team that has been around for a long time and has years of experience in the IMS control region. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along here. A thing that we've built into our AMI Data Extractor is the ability to provide advanced filtering and extraction methods that really will minimize the amount of unnecessary data that is ingested into the target engines. And this is more important than you realize, because if you're not with using some of the analytics engines these days, like Splunk, itself, the way they make money, they don't make money necessarily on their analytics processing capabilities and the dashboards they create and the reports that they generate. They make money by charging for how much data they ingest. In other words, if you send them a huge amount of data, they love you because they charge you by the gigabyte of data that you're paying to them. They will happily process millions of bytes, gigabytes, terabytes, whatever you want to send them. They'll happily process it and come up with some really great analytic solutions for you. They're going to charge you by the greater size of data that you send them. So if you can in any way cut back on the amount of data that you're sending to these analytics engines, it will save you money. So an overview of our new product. In the old ways of extracting log information, use your IMS control region writing writing log records out to the logs, the slids, and olds, and you wait for an archive to occur. So when a log switch happens, you've actually got access to all of that log information. We have another product that we've had for years, the Log Analyzer for IMS, that does a log analysis, and it really to build out logical units of work to help you determine what problems are happening, and also provide you other information that you might want to know about how your processing is going in IMS. But the logs themselves, log wasn't really for, they really built for back and recovery to allow IMS to get its reputation for being the most dependable database there is out there. So to help you not lose data, because data loss is the worst thing that could possibly happen. So that's the design of the IMS logging capabilities. So the data is not exactly in a format that's really hugely useful to you, but it could be. If it's there, it's just a matter of getting it extracted and in a format that you want. Now, after we've taken out the log and archive log switching, all that we're taking that out of the picture, and we're giving you direct instant in real time to these log records, and as much overhead as possible. We don't interrupt the log processing. We don't impact the log writing. It's been optimized, and that is one of our goals, is do not slow down. After that data, we have an external space that runs that we call our server, that data, applies some intelligent filtering and extraction methods, and builds that data into a format that then we can then send off. Either we can send it off the mainframe, or we can keep it on the mainframe. So we have those capabilities, and we're building in many parts to this with APIs for our other BMC products. So there wouldn't only be your IMS log information. This could be data coming from some of your backup and recovery, or reorg, or any other types of products that run out there that you need information from. Some possible use cases that I'll show you that we might be interested in. Perhaps you're interested in CPU usage, response time, elapsed time. All these things are operationally important on a day basis. Timeout issues. As I go around and talk to various customers around the world, I hear a common theme from most of them. Timeouts are bad. Timeouts are a big problem. We are really having trouble with timeouts, and we need to increase our mean time to resolution of timeouts. We need ways to figure out why these timeouts are occurring. So we're looking to address that need in particular. And we're also interested in outages and preventing them, or predicting them in a real-time capable way. Also, that you need statistical information on your databases to determine database growth or database usage, and then it may be important to know various types of information about that. So these are the operational type needs that are out there. But we don't want to limit ourselves to just operational needs. We also are really focused, and most importantly, for a particular product, we're trying to get into your business needs. We want to help you with your fraud prevention. That's a big one out there. But also we have customers that are in various industries that allow the web is wide open to input coming in, and it comes into the mainframe. It comes in IMS. And there are marketing opportunities that a lot of these customers have that not taking advantage of because they have access to the data that they need to help pursue these opportunities. These are some areas that we're actively getting involved in. So let me talk about some of our real-time access. So we provide real-time access to IMS log records. I sort of alluded to that, but we're also providing you some real-time access to some C products that you may be aware of. Mainview for IMS, it is the industry standard for being an eye on your IMS. Everyone who's used Mainview knows that it gives you insights into what's going on in your system. You want to know that you can about when there are problems, when there are situations. If you need to interrogate the system, you can use Mainview to do this. Mainview is a wealth of information, and we're providing you access to that through the FOX8 and FOX9 records, which will give you all kinds of information about database access, database reads. There's all kinds of things you can get out of that. We are a message advisor for IMS product it produces a different type of log record as well, and we're giving you access to that. So if you've got queue issues and Message Advisor takes control of your queues, and it does this on a regular basis, you might want to know about that. And standard for updating and making changes to on-the-fly IMS, the Delta Plus product also produces log records that we're giving you information about. Filtering. What about filtering? We put a lot of effort into our filter capabilities, and I'm just going to touch on this because it's a very key field for us. But we're going to allow you to select what you're interested in, whether it be if you're interested in an 03 record and you want to select particular component of that record. We're going to allow you to do that. We're going to allow you to do criteria matching on those records. So if you're only interested in data coming from a particular destination, or maybe it's a particular user ID that you want to keep an eye on, maybe it's a group of people. You have wildcard matching built into that, and I'll show you examples of that in just a second. Components, what the data extractor is we have an IMS control region present. It's a very, very small footprint. From the get-go, we made ourselves a vow that we were going to stick to, is that we did not want to impact IMS. That is our guiding tool. We do not want to have impact. Have some impact. It's going to be very minimal in terms of any kinds of processing amounts, CPU usage. We're going to keep it as small as possible, and we've done that. We've got a very small footprint. We create some buffers, and those buffers are actually accessed outside of the control region in a separate server address space, and that's where most of our work is actually done. We do apply our filtering and extraction rules there, and all of our packaging, processing, passing on of information to third-party analytics engine all takes place externally in the secondary address space. That is, in a nutshell, the base of our components of the product. I said in the control region, very low CPU usage. We do a very quick filtering to choose log records that are interested, that you've registered interest in, and we do no I/O. we are all about causing no outages. As I said, that was a very important directive that we have been sticking to. We have a one-to-one server relationship. We provide in this address space the ability to also connect from other BMC products and provide data for the server to integrate in and pass on. So our server really acts as a router of data, but it's also a processor and filter and identification of data. To show you just briefly an example of what our ISPF interface looks like, and this is what you would see when you install the product. It's intended to be sort of just you set the product, you put a few blanks, and then the product runs, and you don't really need to make any changes unless you want to change the data that you want to get a hold of. We provide an easy way to select not only which records you want, but which fields within those records that you want to extract. So here's just an example of if you were saying, I want to let me choose the records of interest. Just a long list of IMS log records that might be of interest to you, and then once you choose your records and build that out, we provide you a list of the fields of interest within those records, and we build out some information about what kind of data is in those fields, and just how we're going to normalize that data to be processed on the other end. What we allow is the filtering capability. So not only do we allow you to select what you want to extract, we also allow you to select only what you want in that limited extraction list. So if you choose, you can put some selection criteria on a particular field. In this example on the screen here, we're showing that we've got we're interested in sign-ons that are occurring, but not sign-ons by a particular user, and within a particular time frame. We're only interested in those sign-ons. So maybe you're checking something that's happening at a particular time of day. So this is extremely flexible. We have the ability to do a lot of independent filtering or filtering. You can just choose to extract everything you want. But as you might see from this is where it comes into play, how we would save you money by not sending mass data to Splunk so they can make more money off of it. Another example of we've put in some nice capabilities to allow you to pick and choose what you want to set your filters at, and we provide you all the data you need to build them out. So about how we extract data, what data we extract, how we filter it, the fact it comes in from IMS, the fact that it comes in from other BMC products. So let me talk about on the other end, where the data goes to, how it's handled and processed. As you know, a lot of these analytics engines that are running big data like Hadoop, all the other ones they run off of the mainframe in servers. So we had to have a method to get it there. So we have a TCP/IP capability of sending data out to these selected servers. Excuse me. It's actually put into a modified JSON format And for those who aren't familiar with JSON, JSON is really just a key value pair way of sending data. If you're familiar with XML, XML includes a wide amount of data that includes a lot of information besides just the data itself. JSON is a much more streamlined that you just get the key. So, for example, you might have user ID as a key, and then A, B, D, E, F, the name of the user as the value. So off to the analytics engines, and they take that data, and then they have their own custom extraction report and downloading. Maybe it's written in Python, maybe it's written in R, maybe it's written in C. They've got the capabilities to process that and we're analytics on it. Possibility, I guess, that we kept in mind is that you might want this data to remain on the mainframe, and so we built in a data extraction to allow you to write any selected data out to data set, perhaps a GDG that allows you to keep it the data over time, and that makes that data available to there's also mainframe analytics processors that run on the mainframe that are not necessarily off the mainframe. IBM's got quite a few. The Apache Spark runs under Linux on the mainframe. So if you tell the Spark system that I'm interested in this data that's in this data set, then they can run and do the processing through your analytics engine. Data analytics is another one, or you could use it for your own purposes. Perhaps you want to incorporate it into a historical tracking of some information. We kind of keeping that wide open to allow you to do what you want. That we've got a lot of growth going on, and our direction really is to add intelligence to provide you with access to your IMS data. So we're not giving you anything that already yours to have. We're just providing you access, and we're providing it in a real-time capability. No impact processing times, or at least very little impact, and undetectable overhead. These are our goals that we've shot for and are providing to you. And the main desire for us is to solve your business problems in a way that makes you better, work better, more money, and that's what we're really all about. We want to work with you to create solutions to your problems. We all know that everybody in every different kind of business has a unique problem situation. We're trying very, very diligently to come up with solutions that will help you solve your unique problem situations, and we also want to help with the operational side of things in terms of that time to solve critical problems and issues like timeouts. So addressing all of these things and more intelligence into our own products. This is not just our only intelligent analytic opportunity. You'll see more about the AMI solution coming out from BMC. It's not just in IMS. This will be across the board. This is going to be a major undertaking by BMC. And just that we here in the IMS group are the first ones to get something out in this area. But we're going to tightly integrate with all of this as well. You're going to more integration with our existing products, our database utility products, our our control region TM type products, our log processing products. All of our products across the board are going to be more and more integrated into these solutions. We hope to have some good news and to help you with your root cause analysis. That's another one that's high on our list. We have a long way to go to put you with all of this capabilities, but we are working in a world where you do things a lot quicker than you used to. You don't have the time that you had before to think about things. Processing needs to happen in real time. As we know, technology is changing much faster than we are able to keep up with it. At BMC, we are trying to give tools to help you move forward and keep up with those needs. I'll take any questions that anybody might have. If you don't have any question to ask, you can, or you think of something later, you can. That's my email address. You can email me, and I'll be happy to respond back to you. So, do we have any questions out there?
And if you can, please in the Q&A panel on the right side of your screen.
I thought we'd wait for questions. Why don't I go ahead and turn over to you, Kathy. Kathy Klimple is going to tell you a little bit about what's coming up in our technology.
I wanted to thank all of you for coming today to this webinar to learn about AMI Data Extractor for us. And just a reminder, AMI stands for Automated Mainframe Intelligence. That is a strategic direction that we're working on here at BMC. Not be having a webinar in September. As you know, our webinars are generally scheduled for the first Wednesday of the month. And first Wednesday in September is 2 days after Labor Day, so we expect that people will be taking vacation. So we will have another webinar until the first Wednesday in October, which will be October 3rd. And we will be talking about AMI Data Extractor again, but this time we will be focusing more on the business side of it and use cases. And we would really like for you to invite data scientists that you work with or anyone on your security team, anyone else who might be interested in analytics. We'd like for you to invite them to come to that webinar in October. So John, slide, please.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. We have all of our powers list on communities.bmc.com, and this is an old screenshot, so you can see that we don't even have today's webinar listed on there, but we have recordings of the webinars, and we also have links to where you can register for future webinars. And next slide, John, I believe we're going to show how you can, another way that you can listen to webinars. If you go to watch.bmc.com and on View All in the upper right, you can the mainframe webinars, and to find IMS webinars, if you do a search on BMC IMS Webinar Series, then you can find all of the IMS webinars out there. I believe that's it, John.
Okay, I got a couple of questions that have come in. One question was, this is a new product. When does it come out? Well, it's actually generally available now. If you do have interest in it, you can contact your BMC salesman and bring it in for a trial to take a look at and see how it fits in. Let's see, another question is, you mentioned Splunk several times. What other analytics engines does this product support? The engine is that we targeted Splunk in particular because we know it's the most common analytics engine that is in use by customers. We actually talked to many customers. We have a couple of other products, our analytics engines that we're supporting. One is by the Hitachi security systems called Archangel. It's one that's a SIEM processing engine. We also, as I mentioned, the mainframe solution, like Apache Spark, that is also one that we allow handling because of just the fact that we're making the data available on the mainframe. We've tested with a few others, Tableau, and some of the other small ones. They work with it. Works with them as well. Fortunately, there are probably about 50 or 60 different analytics engines out there, which is another reason that we are not getting into that part of the business. It's just you have a lot of opportunity out there. So what we've done is we've picked the most popular in Splunk. We're also examining Elastic right now. That's pretty close behind Splunk as another most popular one. And as far as Hadoop, a lot of people use something called Kafka to access their data in that. We do not currently work with Kafka, but we are actively working on that one as well. So if you have any specific questions about a particular analytics engine, I'll urge you to email me directly, and I will get back with you and answer on that. Let's have any other questions come in. I don't believe this time. So let's see, Kathy, was there anything else?
Specific requests for a particular webinar topic, and we do like to focus on how to use the products, what our products do, but we really want to show you how to use our products. So if you have any requests, please send them to IMS_webinars@mc.com, and we will be in touch with you. That's it from John.
All right, very much for attending today. I know taking any time out of your workday is difficult, and I do appreciate it. And we'll have more updates for you as we go along here. But thank you for seeing and listening to us today.
That's our call for today. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.